It's a little bitter. I think I need more honey. Here we are. It's a little bit better. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna have a little bit of a sit down chat. You can probably already tell by the title of the video, but this is something that I just kind of wanted to get off my chest. This has been a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time, but I've always been like, no, let's just wait. But today I'm just going to do it because, you know, I just want to get it off my chest. So before I start, I'm going to do just a little bit of a disclaimer. I know that there's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of scary different things. I am not asking for sympathy. This is just me wanting to get this off my chest so that I can be a little bit more natural in front of the camera. Up until now, it's kind of felt like there's been like a wall between me and the camera that's just kind of keeping me from being my real self, because I feel like I need to make my life look perfect, and it's not, and that's okay. Lives are imperfect, and it's really easy to go on places like YouTube and Instagram and just any sort of social media that just kind of depicts a person's life as being perfect, and it's not perfect. So I wanted to share that story with you guys and just kind of give you a rundown of what is going on. Okay, so we're gonna jump right in. So I have had stomach problems and just like, well, it's been mostly stomach problems, health issues in general, since about 4th grade. For some reason, I was like sick, and then after that I had like allergies, and then after that I had a lot of stomach pain and abdomen pain. Back in that time, we didn't figure out until maybe like 6th grade or so that I had a partial dairy intolerance. So pretty much I could have different forms of dairy, but there were some forms of dairy that I couldn't have. But like with that, if I ate something that I wasn't supposed to, my stomach would like hurt that night, and then in the morning it would go away. So this specific issue that is going on right now started in October of 2018. It was technically August, but October 31st of 2018, I just remember because it was Halloween, I started getting really intense abdomen and stomach pain every single day. It didn't go away. Sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't. I wasn't sleeping very well. It was really bad. So the morning of October 31st, I remember we had school, and I was bringing my sister Chloe to school. I remember getting in the car and like being in tears because I was in like such excruciating pain, and I had no idea why. So I got to school. I ended up dropping off my sister Chloe at school, and then I ended up going home, and then I called my dad, and I literally like could not move. If I had that pain now, I probably would tolerate it a lot better because I've just dealt with a lot of pain in general since then. My dad literally had to help me get out of the car. But as I said, I was probably just either being dramatic, or I just have a lot higher pain tolerance than I did then, which I completely believe because there's been a lot of pains that I have gone through. But that's when this all started. The next day, I think I stayed home from school again. I don't remember, but I kept on missing a lot of school because it wasn't going away like it usually did. And then we're like, oh shoot, we gotta try to figure this out. So we started at the family doctor. You know, they kind of went through all the textbook sort of tests. I've had my blood drawn probably like 30 times in the past 2 years. They just did everything that they could, the basic stuff. They weren't going to start diving into the more rare and like unique cases because, you know, obviously you don't start there. So pretty much we went through all the textbook tests, and obviously all of them came back normal, and we're like, okay, that's good that like everything looks normal, but it's also like we still don't know what's going on, you know? Like anybody who's like dealt with this, they can like relate to me on a different level. It's very frustrating to go through medical problems like this just because you don't know, and you think you want answers, but like, do you want answers? So my doctor, after that, he was like, all the tests came back. At that point, I was like a junior in high school, and he was like, you're a junior in high school, you probably have a lot of stress, and this is probably just caused by anxiety and stress, and we need to like try to help that. I know that I do have a respect for doctors. Don't like read between the lines of this. I do have respect for doctors. When you are in a position like me, you know exactly what I mean when you get frustrated with a doctor just telling you over and over again you have anxiety, and you're like, no, I don't. I just knew that that wasn't what it was. I was told that for so long, and he finally sent me to a therapist. And at first the therapist was like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. You're gonna start feeling better in a couple of weeks. And at this point I'm like, I really kind of hope that I have anxiety, because 2 weeks sounds pretty darn good. I went to see a therapist, and as I said, she was like, I can fix this. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, I'm not convinced it's gonna work, but I'm going to try, because if it works, it works. So the 2 weeks goes by, and then it was like a month, and then it was like 2 months, and I'm thinking, where is this going? Where is this taking me? I'm not sure that this is helping. And she finally sat down with us one morning, and she was like, I don't think that anxiety is what this is. I think you need to seek out some different medical options. And hello? And you know, I wish you the best of luck, but I don't think I can fix you. It was another mixed bag of emotions. I was like, yes, cool, finally, maybe my doctor will believe me that I don't have some sort of anxiety. If a therapist says it, maybe he'll believe me. And then I was also like, well, that's not what it is. I want to know what it is. So we go back to my doctor, and he finally stops talking about the anxiety stuff, because, you know, I'd already seen like a psychologist and therapist and all that sort of stuff, and that's just not what it is. So he was like, I'm going to send you to Mayo Clinic. And my first reaction to that was, holy cow, that's scary, because, you know, Mayo Clinic is a very big place. They're very good at what they do. It's a large sort of medical facility, and they're really, really good at what they do. But you would never wish upon someone to have to go to Mayo Clinic, because that's just kind of like a last resort sort of place. So it made me scared, but I was also like, they know what they're doing. A lot of people have said like they leave Mayo Clinic knowing more stuff. They leave with like coping mechanisms. They might even find out like what's going on. So we finally get in touch with them, and we like make an appointment. And at this point it was like mid-January, and they're like, we're not gonna be able to see you until like, I want to say it was like March 20th or something. No, it was March 31st. So it was the very end of March. It was a very hard thing for me to deal with. At this point in time, it was January of 2020. That was the worst pain I'd ever been in through this whole like 2-year thing. Like my abdomen was hurting really bad, and the year before, in 2019 of June, it had progressed into my neck. So I was feeling a lot of tightness in the back of my neck, back of my head. Sometimes I will feel some tightness right here, the right side underneath my chin. And you know, things have just escalated, and I was like, I have to wait 2.5 months to just go to Mayo Clinic. Very, very frustrating, but you know, that's just one of those things where you're like, I was so thankful for the appointment, but it's also like, I wish I could get in a little bit sooner. So that's just one of those things that we just kind of prayed about. We're like, thank you for this appointment. If we can get in any sooner, that would be amazing. So it was just one of those things that we just kind of put in our back pocket, and we're like, whatever happens, happens. So finally we got in contact with Mayo Clinic, and they sent over paperwork. And if you don't know, Mayo Clinic is in Minnesota. I live in Michigan, so it's a pretty far drive. It's about 8 hours. So they sent us paperwork, and my dad, I think it was my dad, didn't understand something in the paperwork, or like how it was going to work when we actually went there. When we had first gotten in contact with Mayo Clinic, they said you can call like every week, see if there's any openings. We can't guarantee it. Like it's pretty rare to get an opening at Mayo Clinic. So at this point it was a Monday night, and my mom was like, okay, I already called them this morning to see if they had an opening. They didn't have an opening. So tomorrow I will call them on Tuesday, and I will ask them your question. And so that's what she did. She got on the phone with them, and she was like, hey, how is this gonna work? Blah, 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 blah. Got the answer to her question, and then randomly towards like the end of this conversation, she was like, I know I called yesterday and asked if there was any openings, but is there a chance that you have any openings today? And they were looking, and they were like, actually, we do. I want to say my appointment was on February 4th of 2020. That was almost 2 months earlier than when we were supposed to go. And I remember distinctly my mom calling me being like, pack your bags, we're going to Mayo Clinic. And I was just like, again, just a mixed bag of emotions. Oh my gosh, like, we're going. And like, it was just a very surreal, weird sensation. When we knew that this was happening, I want to say it was like a week before we were leaving. So it was pretty short notice, but we were not gonna pass it up. My mom just like accepted the appointment without even talking to me or my dad. She was just like, Yes. And so that's what we did. And it was really funny because we were joking, since my appointment was like February 4th at like 8 a.m. or something, we spent my whole entire birthday driving up there on February 3rd. So we were kind of joking around that it was like my birthday present. So 8 hours in a car. I love to do that on my birthday. I really don't. So we go to Mayo Clinic. If you don't know anything about Mayo Clinic, usually when you go, it's like a 1.5 to 2-week process just because there's so many appointments. I personally had 11 different appointments and tests with like a barium swallow, the CAT scan, the like abdominal CAT scan. I ate radioactive scrambled eggs. It actually tasted pretty good, not gonna lie. But anyway, I just went through so many different tests. I was in a wheelchair pretty much this whole entire time because while I was at Mayo Clinic, it was exciting, like getting all these tests done, but it's also not fun getting those tests done. If you don't know anything about the medical stuff, medical field, like when you have medical issues or you're having like tests done and stuff, you cannot take like pain meds or like certain like medications. So the medications that I was taking to kind of just get the edge off of my pain, I couldn't take, so I was miserable. I remember every single night just telling my mom, I don't know if I can do this, like I have to do all this stuff, I have to swallow nasty stuff, I have to do all of these tests, and every single night we were just like, nope, you can do it, let's go. Like I said, it was a mixed bag of emotions just like everything else. It was a great experience, but I was miserable. So we were able to get our appointments down to a week because we did not want to be there for longer than that, just because we knew that my sisters were at home with like family and stuff. You know, we didn't want to leave them alone more than we had to, and nobody likes spending the night at a hotel when they'd rather just be in their own beds. So we left Mayo Clinic. We left with an abdominal diagnosis. So with this diagnosis, I was able to go to PT. If you do this specific PT, it should get rid of that condition. It was confirmed that I actually did have that condition. However, I don't think that that was the only thing that was causing it because the neck thing didn't really make any sense. But PT helped tremendously. I can now happily say that I do get some relief every once in a while, which is good. That is a lot better than not feeling good from when I wake up in the morning, from when I go to bed at night. Yeah, so it was better, but obviously just like any other human, you are just like, oh, I just want this one thing, but once you get it, you're like, okay, can I have a little bit more? Like, you know what I mean? Sorry, neck is tight at this moment and it's very hot in here. Anyway, so we have kind of gotten a hold on the abdomen stuff, but I'll explain a little bit more about what's going on with that in a little bit. We are seeing PT and she recommended us to a pain and rehabilitation specialist or something through MSU. So we went to see him. He's feeling my neck, feeling my head, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. And I didn't expect that. One thing that I've learned through this whole entire experience is to not go to the doctor and expect to get an answer right there, because even though that happens for a lot of people, it didn't happen for me quite a bit. He was like, okay, I think I know what this is, but I'm still gonna do an MRI just to confirm that there's nothing else that's wrong. And my mom asked the question, she's like, if this is what you think it is, how confident are you that you can fix this? And he was like, oh, I'm 100% confident I can fix it. And so, as I said, my abdomen was better to this point, but I noticed that they would trade off. If the back of my head is tight, my abdomen feels fine, my stomach feels fine. But if my abdomen hurts, my head and my neck feel 100% fine. Like right now, the back of my head is tense, but my stomach feels fine. My stomach hurt this morning, but my neck felt fine and it just moved. And I also found a spot. This is weird. So like if you are a doctor out there, like when I told my doctor this, he didn't even bat an eyelash. So apparently this is more common than I think. My abdomen hurts. If I like squeeze a specific pressure point in my abdomen, it shoots up to my head and my neck, which is really, really weird, I thought. But like I said, when I told my doctor, he didn't even blink an eye. Oh, by the way, I switched family doctors just because that first one, that kind of was shoving anxiety down my throat, which there's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't what it was. We were just like, you know, maybe we should switch. He neither confirmed nor denied that my abdomen and my head stuff is connected. It's not super common, but you know, I'm not a common girl, I've noticed. So I'll take anything you can give me. So back to the pain and rehabilitation doctor. So I had the MRI and he diagnosed me with 2 different things. I can't remember one of them, but the main one was greater occipital neuralgia, which basically means that there's nothing, to my understanding, not a doctor, this is just my understanding, basically means that there's nothing structurally wrong. Like at this point I'd had CAT scans, x-rays, everything in the books, and nobody was finding anything physically wrong. So he basically described it as the nerves are out of whack. So in order to fix that, you can get something that's called a nerve block. If you don't like needles, maybe skip ahead like 30 seconds, but it doesn't hurt. It seems scary, but it doesn't hurt. It's pretty much an injection in your head, and it was like right in the spot where I feel it on my right side, and pretty much it resets those nerves so that they can possibly go back to being nerves like how they're supposed to be actually working, or it can go back to not being correct and just being a pain. So it pretty much resets your nerves and kind of gives them a chance to reset. It stinks that it doesn't just take one injection. It's usually like a multitude of injections like in a row. That's just how it works. Sometimes it can work on the first injection, but for me it didn't. But yeah, so pretty much I've had my first injection into my head and I got some relief for a few days, but then it came back. So I don't think that my nerves went back to how they're supposed to work. You can only get injections, I want to say like 6 to 8 weeks, like every 6 to 8 weeks. That's just how it works. So I'm waiting for that. But yeah, so that's pretty much where I am right now, just kind of filling you guys in on it. As I said, the reason that I'm sharing this is not for sympathy. It's not to draw attention to myself. I don't want to do that. It was something that was weighing on me. It really just made me feel like I was trying to make my life look perfect, even though it wasn't. Because like I said, like going on YouTube and stuff, you just see people making videos and they just seem so happy, and that's what I wanted to be for some reason. But life isn't perfect. It's not supposed to be perfect. God gives us all crosses, and I know that my cross is not nearly as heavy as so many others, especially now. But you know, whatever your cross is, it feels like the worst thing in the world, just because in that point in time it's the worst thing in the world to you. It's hard to fully understand the way worse pain that other people are going through. It's really hard to do that. So for me, it just feels like the worst thing in the world, but I definitely 1000% know that I am so blessed. My life is not perfect, nor will it be ever probably, but I am thankful, and I know that God is going to do something through this. I don't understand it, and maybe you're sitting at home right now and you're like, this one thing is just bothering me so much. I don't see what it's doing. I don't see what God wants to do with it. But one day you will know. If we had all the answers to our lives, life would just be too easy, you know? Life teaches us so many things, and for some reason, God just wanted me to be tougher in this season of my life. Maybe something down the road I'm going to need the strength for, or whatever. But yeah, just know that you're not alone, and life isn't perfect. And I'm sick of trying to be perfect on the internet. Like, I just feel like a breath of fresh air, even though like in this current point in time, nobody's gonna know about this for like a week and a half when this video goes live. But I just feel like I can breathe, and I feel like I can just be myself. I just felt like it was keeping me from you guys, from giving you guys an example of a real authentic life. And you know, I'm a lifestyle YouTuber. My lifestyle isn't perfect. So I just wanted to fill you in on that. We're gonna keep working and trying to figure this out. You know, we're gonna keep working towards it. Maybe I'll give you guys some updates just randomly in videos and such. And I also just wanted to make this video to thank you guys. YouTube has been something that I've wanted to do for so long. It's been something that I really wanted to be successful with ever since freshman year of high school. I just fell in love with making videos and just, you know, being creative, and YouTube has really been a wonderful outlet for me, and I love talking to you guys. I love growing our community here, and yeah, I'm just happy that you guys are joining me on this crazy ride of life. It's just not perfect. and you know, that's okay. And I'm a perfectionist, so if it's okay with me, hopefully it's okay with you. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up because it's probably super long. But thank you for watching. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for helping me through a very tough time, the toughest time that I've ever gone through in my life. Thank you for being there, you know, just supporting me. And yeah, you guys are always in my prayers. I am praying for you, and yeah, I will see you guys next week in my next video. Bye.